the story with you in the world of lobbyists, okay, and that's the business you've been in since 1980, when you got into the business. When they talk about you going to jail, what did you really go get sentenced 47 months for? Some are saying Russia, some are saying the $10 million loan from the oligarchs, some are saying the $60 million from Ukraine. What was the real reason at the end that you got 47 months?
There was no $10 million loan from the oligarchs. There was no loans from oligarchs. That was a bank loan that they accused me of, a U.S. bank. What I was villainized for was being pro-Putin, traitor to my country. What I was convicted of were legal issues, which I talk about in the book, that I'd already been cleared up on. In the FARA issues, on the tax issues, on the FBAR, which is the offshore accounts issues, and I'm not going to get into them today, but in the book I get into them in detail. And you need to understand the context, and that was exactly what Weissman's strategy was to confuse the context, to make me a villain in the media, and then get me convicted on just overcharging and just dropping hundreds of thousands of documents, millions of pages,
Weissman
and putting me in solitary so I couldn't really prepare myself.
Weissman being the right-hand guy for Mueller, right? When you're saying
Weissman ran, at least my case, he ran it, but I think he ran the whole special counsel.
What role did Letitia Jackson play? Letitia James play?
None. She's the Attorney General in New York.
But she was trying to go after Trump, God knows how many different things they were trying to find. They couldn't find anything except for, the CEO, who apparently Trump gave him a Ferrari or something like that. They couldn't find anything else. So I guess the question for you would be the following. From 1980 till you going getting the 47 months, how often Ford, Reagan, all these guys you work with, how often were you a target the way you were a target the moment you started helping out Trump?
Never.
So you've never been a target like the...
Not that I know of.
So why this level of hatred towards targeting Trump versus everybody else you supported was also Republican? What's different between Trump and everyone else?
The world has changed. I mean, number one, social media. Number two, social media was helped Trump facilitate Trump's election, and it dominated Trump's presidency. We used to have, going back to the 4 days, there was one news cycle, and you used between 8 in the morning until about 3 in the afternoon to get on the 3 network news programs that night, and that was the way you built your strategy for the day. By the time Reagan's second term and Jim Baker mastered this, we had 2 cycles. We had the morning cycle and the afternoon cycle, so that we dominated what was in the news in the evening and what you saw in the papers in the morning. Today, you have a 24-hour cycle. And you've also had journalism, mainstream journalism, change. It used to be that the fact checkers were the most important part of any articles you read in the non-editorial pages. Fact checkers don't exist anymore. It's first to file, not first to get the facts, and that's driven by the social media to some respect. And it's the social media has is dominated the mainstream medias, because the mainstream medias, how do these new reporters grown into national celebrities? The articles they get to be writing, and also the coverage they get on the TV talk shows, and the clicks. How many clicks? So that if their articles get clicks, the more clicks they get, the more attention that brings to them. The more attention it brings to them, it's helped their economics. And what gets clicks? News or sensationalism?
I want to say, okay, it's social media, but Nixon got targeted hardcore, when they were after him. We can give names of people, of course, post media coming out, first debate being John F. Kennedy and Nixon on TV, where it was no longer radio. On radio, Nixon's winning. On TV, he's not. But the targeting has happened for a while. Maybe not at the levels that we have today, right?
Intensity.
So, but why though? That's what I want to know. Forget the social media side. Why specifically towards Trump?
Well, again, I think the main reason for Trump and I get into this in the book, is because he threatened the system. Not Democrats, the system. He was going to drain the swamp. The swamp wasn't the Democrats. The swamp was Washington. The swamp was New York. The swamp was the elites versus the people. To quote Hillary Clinton, the basket of deplorables. They were coming not since Andrew Jackson, were the people coming to the streets of Washington the way they were under Trump. Really, I mean, you look at all of the changes, the FDR, even Abraham Lincoln. You didn't have an attack on the system the way you did when Trump or Andrew Jackson, depending on how you want to do it, became president. And so and they weren't ready for it. In Trump's case, nobody was ready for Trump to be president except Trump's supporters. And they were the quiet, still, to quote Nixon, silent majority. I mean, they were hoping. I felt Trump was going to win the whole time in 2016. I wrote a memo, which Weissman tried to make into something it wasn't, on Thursday before the election in 2016, that I sent to the president, to Jared, and to Reince Priebus, who was running the RNC at the time, where I said that Trump is going to win on Tuesday. And I wrote the memo on Thursday specifically because I felt that there was still time the week before for Clinton to change. If Clinton had run a smart last 10 days of the campaign, she could have won. I'm not saying she would have, but she could have. By Thursday, it was too late. She couldn't do, in my mind, what had to be done in the states where I thought Trump would win. So I wrote a memo that said that it's really important this weekend that we get out there and make people understand we're going to win. I said, the media's not going to believe it in the memo, but we have to put the marker down, because when we do win on Tuesday, I said, no one's going to understand how this happened, and they're going to try and say we stole the election, and we didn't. And some of what I asked for, they suggested it happened, but I'm not saying it was because of my memo. But my point was that the system wasn't expecting Trump to win, and so the combination of he's going to drain the swamp, nobody expected him to be standing on Wednesday after the election. The people crying, the schools, teachers unions closing schools because
that was epic.
Yeah, I mean, when did we ever have that happen?
Yeah.
When did we ever have that happen? But that became the defining atmosphere for Trump's presidency.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.